Today on r/am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's girl best friend she can't host my baby shower? I, 22 female, and my husband, 23 male, got married young. I was 18, he was 19. Both of us knew we always wanted to get married and start a family young. I started college 2 years ago, and he just graduated with a Bachelor of Biomedical Science. My husband has a girl best friend, 23 female, who I'll call Sam, who he met in college. Both of them grew up Baptist, and while he's left the church, they had a very similar childhood and bonded quite quickly. Despite what you may be thinking, her and I got along really well. She and I liked the same music, and we were both studying in relatively the same fields, so she became a friend of mine as well. Since I found out I was pregnant, though, some issues have started to arise. We announced our pregnancy on social media after we told our parents. Sam texted my husband a congrats text and then told him to pass on her well wishes to me. She's been texting him non-stop with baby advice and what she likes to call advice for mama, which includes sometimes relatively targeted jabs at what I should eat. Honestly, I kept brushing the texts off, but it got a point where the conversations were less about the baby and more about me, which I was getting increasingly uncomfortable with because she wasn't texting me, she was texting my husband. My husband acknowledged this and has just started to show them to me and ask what I want him to do. I just told him to ignore them. When I announced I was having a baby shower and sent out the invites, I received a text from Sam Dial. She said something along the lines of wanting to host my baby shower and set it up. I told her politely that my mom was planning on hosting it with the help of my sister, and that it was a special moment for them, and I wouldn't want to take that away. Well, Sam ignored that message because the next day, she came over and insisted we start working out arrangements for the venue. I told her once again my mom and sister were hosting it, and she told me that she should take her advice and let her plan it because she'd ensure that the baby shower would be better if she planned it, particularly because she'd be working on the menu. Whether it was pregnancy hormones or just bottled up rage too, told her that the jabs she'd been making at me behind my back about my diet during this pregnancy to my husband are really annoying at that no, she cannot host the shower, and from now on her unsolicited advice was not appreciated, especially if she can't say it to my face. That night my husband's phone blew up with messages from Sam saying that he had no right to show her those messages, and they were just supposed to just be health tips because Sam was studying nutritional science and only wanted to help her best friend and ensure a happy baby and life. I know she had somewhat good intentions and she's been a good friend to my husband and to me, so am I the a-hole? For our next story. Am I the a-hole for disinviting a friend from an event after she gave my ticket to her sister? Back when Eras Tour tickets were released, my friend Sadie said she would grab us tickets and I'd pay her back. We made concrete plans and I was excited. I'd been a Swiftie for years but haven't seen her live. I had to sell my Rep Stadium tour tickets back in the 2010s because my mom was ill and I needed the money to help pay medical bills. I booked the hotel. This past weekend I was having a little get-together for a bunch of friends and Sadie was of course invited. At some point she pulled me aside and told me that she had news. She is leaving in September. I was heartbroken. We've been friends for years and I love spending time with her. I got weepy and hugged her a bunch and said that we needed to get all our thrifting trips in over the summer and hang out as much as we could. Then she broke the news that as a way to bond with her sister before she left, she was going to be taking her to the Eras Tour instead. I didn't know how to react. She stood in front of me and Venmo'd my payment back. She was like, "I know you understand." I said that this was a sneaky move and honestly really shitty of her, and I don't understand how or why she would do that to me. She got defensive and said that they were under her name and that she didn't owe me anything. I was like, yes, they are your tickets. Legally you can do whatever you want. But this is still a really shitty and sneaky thing to do to your friend, knowing that there is no way I will be able to get my own tickets at this point. She just kind of shrugged and said, "Sorry, but I figured you'd understand." I asked her to leave and told her to please not come back for the 4th of July party next week. I said I needed to process this and that I'm really disappointed with her and how she's treated me. This is a girl who I consoled through breakups, job losses, pet losses, etc. She looked shocked and asked if I was serious. She ended up stomping off and leaving and texted me later to tell me that she's around if I want to apologize for making her feel bad about taking her sister on a bonding trip. I'm honestly heartbroken that I'm going to be watching my show on a grainy live stream instead of being there in the stadium with everyone. I was looking forward to this so much. I checked the resale sites and had a sad little cry about it. I am wondering if I am completely wrong to have just uninvited her. Is that too far? If it was in, say, a month or two, I don't think I would have. I just need time? Let's dive into our next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother our mother isn't an effing robot and is allowed to be sad? My brother and his wife like to do their own thing. They are much more my way or the highway than compromising. The big issue right now is that they eloped, which they are allowed to do obviously. He told everyone last night at dinner. It was a big shock to everyone since for the longest time they didn't want to marry. When he told the news, our mother told him congratulations, but it was clear that she wasn't very happy about it. She didn't say anything, but her congratulations were forced and she looked close to crying. I asked if she was fine when cleaning up. Mom was sad that she didn't get to see him get married, but overall she would be fine. My brother gave me a call later that night and he had an issue with her response. He wasn't happy at all that she wasn't very excited. That him and his wife found it disrespectful. I asked if Mom said anything to him and he confirmed she didn't. I told him that Mom isn't an effing robot and she is allowed to be sad. That she didn't get to see her kid get married, and being sad isn't an odd emotion to have about it. This started an argument and he thinks I am being a jerk for defending her. On to the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents they need to learn to live without me? My parents have a lot of kids. They always wanted a big family and were not prepared for how hard that would be. I'm 17 male, the oldest of 10, and my parents have relied on me for so long that I don't remember a time where I wasn't treated like a third adult in the house. My siblings range from 15 down to 4. My parents are still technically able to have more kids too, because neither are 40 yet, and it scares me, I won't lie. We already struggle so much with 10 of us, and I know it would be worse if they added more, especially when I'm so close to moving out. In our house we have a boys' room, a girls' room, and our parents' bedroom. We basically all sleep on these tiny bunk beds in order to fit everyone in. Nobody gets brand new clothes at all thrift store for me, and the oldest of my sisters and our younger brothers and sisters get our hand-me-downs. It was expected I would step up by the time I was 5. I had to make mine and my siblings' beds, had to tidy up after younger siblings, had to stop my younger siblings from climbing onto things, and I was also expected to clean the floors. Over time, more chores were added to my list. Helping to cook, babysitting, even when I was too young really, helping with homework, holding siblings' hands when we went grocery shopping so they wouldn't run off, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning both boys' and girls' bedrooms, tidying up if we were having guests, especially if anyone had friends over. My siblings weren't really given chores, and I was basically doing just as much as my parents around the house. My siblings rely on me for too much. From driving them places to picking them up from places to giving them permission for stuff. My parents let me give permission where I know they would. They expect me to buy them stuff. They come to me more than our parents, and sometimes come to me after our parents if they don't like what our parents said. They get pissy whenever I try to get them to help out, and our parents won't back me up, so they have never done any kind of chore or helped out at all. They get so mad when I ask. They say I'm not mom and dad, but then they also won't go to mom and dad for this crap most of the time. My parents started freaking out because I'll be 18 in October, and they know I plan to move out. I also work part-time, and that gets relied on to help financially, and between that and all I do around the house, it finally dawned on my parents I won't be around in a few more months. They started word vomiting all this on me, and I told them they need to learn to live without me because it's not my job to be the third adult in the house anymore. They told me I'll still be a part of the family and I can't just abandon them. I said I will not support the household after I turn 18 because it won't be my job. Our last story for today. Am I the a-hole for laughing in my cousin's face when she tried to stage an intervention for my narcotic use? I, 27 male, have a condition which causes me to overproduce earwax. I don't tell people about it because I was bullied for it growing up. Only my wife and parents know. Every other day I have to put medication in each ear, let it sit, then flush it out with a rubber-tipped syringe. This prevents ear infections, vertigo, permanent hearing loss, and worsening of my tinnitus. I have dealt with all of these things to some extent, so I stay on top of my eardrop regimen. If my alarm goes off when I'm with others, I go to the bathroom for 20 minutes and knock it out. If I don't follow my schedule, I forget, so I can't put it off. 2 weeks ago, my mom hosted family dinner. My cousin Kara, 37 female, saw me waltz off to the bathroom to do my thing, syringe in hand, and asked what I was doing. I said just a minor medical thing. She kept pushing, but I didn't want to say anything because she gossips. I told her it's personal and scooted past. When I left, she was standing in the hallway. She asked what took so long and why the toilet didn't flush. I said none of her business. She said she didn't mean to offend. Last weekend my friend called me to invite me out to lunch with some buddies. He said to meet up at his house so we wouldn't have to drive separately. I arrive at his house to find Kara and my friends sitting solemnly on the couch. Kara said they were here to talk about my problem and that they just wanted to help. I said there is no problem. Suddenly it clicked in my head what this was about. I couldn't help but laugh a little bit out of shock. She asked what was so funny, and I said, first of all, why didn't you talk to my wife or my parents? She said she didn't want to involve my enablers, which just made me laugh harder. She looked annoyed and said she was done trying to help. I said that's alright by me. She stormed out. I explained to my friends. They knew I have a condition but never pressed me on it. I guess when Kara approached them they thought I was lying. Obviously I'd rather they know than worry about me being an addict when I'm not. I thanked them for their support anyways. Kara had apparently reached all of my friends through my social media. We all got a good hearty laugh out of it, which Kara must have heard because she was of course eavesdropping. She burst back in and told me to tell them the truth, to which I said I did. My friend kicked her out. We went for lunch and I thought that was that. My mom called me yesterday and told me she had talked to Kara about the whole thing and explained. She said Kara was very upset with me and essentially called me an a-hole for not explaining and laughing in her face and embarrassing her. I said I was embarrassed and that Kara had no right to my info. I think she shouldn't go around snooping and making assumptions. My mom still thinks I should apologize. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.